Up next on U24.
U24.
As said earlier, a world where ideas transform to reality. Thank you so much for joining me on U24 television, the green color, which signifies that we are the best ever and evergreen. My name is Benon Mokwaya, once again. Just as we said at the very beginning that this is a world where ideas transform to reality. In this weekend, we have Katikamu SDA secondary school that has hosted the Greater Luwero sub-regionals. Today, the young souls are going to debate, to recite poems, public speeches, and so on and so forth. You better be with me today as I take you to this wonderful world of expression. My name is Benon Mokwaya, your number one Mr. Echoes. Before we go any further, I would wish to tell you that the theme of the day, or the theme of the championship, is resilient, patriotic, and responsible youth for the good governance. And this runs under the Uganda National Students Association. Let's be together as we see the young souls do it as we normally do. Keep on.
I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Now, panel, focus on the following things. They come up and tell us that education is the only way whereby students can only through exams is the only way that students can attain critical thinking. But they fail to understand that the stages of education actually include a psychomotor system of learning whereby students are actually supposed to become innovative. We as our parameter being Burundi, we come up and say that we are going to bring up actually these projects as the final year projects. Because why? We have seen that these final year examinations have actually been there for a very long time, but Burundi has not had any significant change due to these examinations. Examinations are supposed to come up and give students a greater understanding, but projects are going to give them a system of integrating. The reason that's why we are failing out in Burundi right now is because we are failing to get citizens who are actually going to integrate what they're actually getting in classes and get better solutions. Right now in Burundi, we are facing a very huge problem of lack of safe drinking water, poor sanitation, low use of ICT education, poor infrastructure and planning. But Judge, remember all these, she said that from their side negative, that these challenges are actually going to be, these projects are going to be complex and they won't be able to be managed. But the problems we are giving is actually things that are actually done by other people in other countries, which are actually made by students of 16 to 17 years. These are actually very simple tasks that are offered to these students. She talked about time, the money, and supervision. Well, government is actually going to be that's why it's actually the Ministry of National Education and Scientific Research that's actually going to be funding all these projects, as in all other countries, because the funding comes from the government itself. So for them focusing on the time, money, and supervision issues, actually a debate for another day.
Begin my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Team Negative comes on ground and proves to the panel that really this house should not really come on ground and put in the final year examination instead of projects. In this, their case is to eliminate the final year examinations at all and bring in the final year projects. In this case, Team Negative bring on ground an alternative that they should not continuously eliminate away the final examinations, but in this, we should come in and counterbalance the final year projects and the final year examinations. We should bring them in balance. We should then we have seen these people bring on ground an excuse that is supporting us. If you're saying that the projects are more practical and you're doing these examinations every day, so you're saying that you're well off with the final year theoretical examinations. If you're then well off, let's have a counterbalance. If you've done today, you've studied about the parts of an engine, end of term, you will come and look at how you will apply that in life. Therefore, we are having the two. This is how then the confidence is going to come in. You also come and talk about that better preparation for the future. How will you prepare me for the future when I only have the theoretical part, and then you tell me that I'm going to only have the project skills or what I'm going to apply in future without the practical skills? Should I come and tell you, I come and you show me this is an engine, this is the part of an engine, and this is how they join them? What will I do then for better revision to say that what will remind me that I learned about this? Will I just recall that I caught an engine? I should have the theoretical part of it, revise it, capture it, and then apply it in life theoretically and practically. We need a counterbalance of the two. You come on ground and tell us that the people are preparing tailoring shops from the first affirmative. Then the second affirmative brings on ground the welding shop. If I come out with an alternative, I come and say that I now want to start and construct an airplane. Where will the government get the resources for me to start the airplane? Again, if I come up and say that I'm bringing out a big project, will the government fund me? Where will the resources come from? Rest. Team affirmatives are coming on ground to prove to the panel that we should now leave the technical institutions down. If we come on ground and prioritize the project skills and prioritize the projects, where will the technical institutions go? Should we leave the technical institutions? Because I'm well off. I'm from high school. I already have the skills of tailoring. I have the skills of welding. Why should I go to the technical institution then? Do I have any reason to join the technical institution? I already have the skills. We are undermining the decisions of the government, prioritizing institutions and technical institutions that will help us overwhelm what we have acquired from school. You need to acquire the theoretical part, have a junior practical of it, join the technical institution to support the view of the government and develop our country, Uganda. Team negative come on ground and bring about taxes that are going to be helping in implementing the industries. Yes, of course, we are implementing huge industries where we shall improve and advance the job seekers. Why should we only look at the people who are able to create jobs? Where would the people who are able to seek for jobs go? Should we live in a world that is not balanced? Should you leave me because I'm poor and I cannot create a job? Look at me who can create a job and look at her who cannot create a job. Cater for a job seeker and cater for a job creator. Team affirmative. What should we prove to the house then? This is what we should prove to the house. We should leave a counterbalance of the project examinations and the final examinations because we are building confidence, which was raised by them, but it is our point then. I'm well confident I have the theoretical part of it and I have the practical part of it that I will apply in the field. I will go and apply the field work I have got hand on hand. I know how to build and I know how to the engine works. If I forgot, I can visit my book and treat it. Team affirmative, join us. I rest my case.
This house believes that schools should replace final year examinations with final year projects that tackle your challenges. Pano, one of the negative speakers, come here claiming that instead of replacing final year projects with final year examinations, we should balance the both, that the examinations to get 50% and the projects to get 50%. But we as team affirmers, we are saying that projects should replace final examinations because the final examinations have been done through the years ago, but they have not been effective anymore. But once we replace final examinations, final projects, we are going to see the effective change, whereby we are going to create jobs to the youths and other people in order to solve the problem of unemployment, whereby we do different projects like tailoring, welding, and others, hence creating jobs creating jobs to the citizens. We, as one of the negative speakers, come here claiming that one of the students might come up with a project of making an aeroplane. That where will the government get the funds to? Where would the government get the resources to fund that student in order to make the project of an airplane? But we as Team Affirmative, we already told you that we are going to make the projects that do not exceed 70%. And they talked about that the students can join the technical institutions. But we already told you that there are parents who are not able who are not able to pay for their students in order to go to the technical institutions. And we also have students who will not be able to break off and go to the technical institutions. They talked about one of the negative speaker talked about that the government, that through the government we are going to have very many industries that provide jobs to the citizens. But we asked them a question that how many industries are owned by the government, and they failed to answer that. But we as Team Affirmative, we are saying that we should replace final year exams with final year projects in order to increase on the creativity and innovation of the learners, whereby a student is going to sit and identify that in our environment we are facing a problem of environmental pollution. That child is going to sit and use his or her creativity and innovation skills to come up with an idea how to solve that challenge of pollution, whereby the child is going to come up with an idea of making a dustbin through the available resources, like using the bamboo in order to make a dustbin to solve pollution. We are going to see that through the projects we are going to develop the learners' skills, whereby they are going to develop the critical thinking skills. They are going to develop the critical thinking skills in order to solve the real world challenges. We told them that through the projects we are going to prepare students for better future careers, whereby these children are going to do different projects. At the end of the day, they are going to be having better jobs. But through the examinations, very many people have studied and become lawyers, engineers, but at the end of the day, they are unemployed. So why should we focus on the examinations that are not going to effectively help the citizens? So we should focus on the final year projects that at the end of the day we are going to solve the problem of unemployment that is affecting the country worldwide. I beg to submit.
In Uganda's garden, where dreams once bloomed, a paradise on earth where love once perfumed. The air was sweet with promise and delight, a future bright where hopes took flight. But now, the garden dies in disarray, choked by corruption's weeds that slay. Its beauty fades like a sunset sigh, as greed and division pierce the sky. Yet still, we hold on to the seeds of gold, integrity's roots, making our hearts bold. We will nurture patriotism, a burning flame, and take responsibility of Uganda's name. We will sow seeds of honesty in every place and reap a harvest of a brighter face. We will water the roots of unity and peace, watching the garden bloom with sweet release. In this garden of broken dreams, we will rise with leaders who serve with integrity's guise. We will demand accountability, a voice clear and strong, building a nation where all can belong. The journey is long. The road is steep, but together in unity, our promise we will keep. With every step, a seed we will plant of hope and progress that Uganda's grant. We will tend the garden with care and might, pruning the weeds that choke the light. We will cultivate a future where all can thrive, and Uganda's beauty will bloom truly alive. In this garden of broken dreams, we will find our way through patriotism's love that guides each day. We will take ownership of our nation's fate and build a brighter future, an eternal state. The seeds of integrity will take root deep, and Uganda's garden will forever keep the beauty of our land rising anew, a garden of hope where dreams come true. We will nurture the young with values true and teach them to lead with hearts anew. We will build a nation where all can stand with dignity and pride in this beloved land. The future is bright. The dawn is near. We will rise together and banish fear. With unity and love, we will pave the way for a brighter tomorrow, starting today. For God and my country.
One of the interesting oratory skills is poetry. And with me here is one of a kind who has given us a good presentation. I want to know, what's your name?
Now Habd.
Yes. From which school?
Katikamu, Kakoge campus.
Okay. And can you tell me which class are you?
Form 2.
Form 2. Okay. So why did you choose poetry among these oratory skills?
Because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Okay.
And that's what I know about my talent.
Okay. And now, who inspires you to do poetry? Like, at times poetry is like a talent. You come and unleash something that is really unique to the audiences. Mm-hmm. Who inspires you in this?
My literature teacher.
Your literature teacher. And that is Mr. or Madam?
Madam Bridget.
Madam Bridget. We send regards. Thank you so much. We pray for you to gain as much momentum as possible to go further with poetry. Okay, you're watching Echoes of Expression with Benon Mukwaya, U24 Television. Be inspired.
What the first performer stated about, talked about anti-corruption body being unfunded. Then what's the role of IGG? You know, the IGG is in charge of what investigating assets which politicians acquire and declare them to the public. And another thing is, he talked about whistleblowers. Whistleblowers have. Then, if they are can you just imagine the world that where, one, you are in a world where you have no friends who can help you out. You mean, just take a list. Developing countries mainly based on what? On investment outside the country. Imagine if you ban these politicians from investing in your country, then how will you promote development? Take an instance that China has been promoting development in most African countries. Imagine banning their politicians from coming and investing inside the country. What will you promote? I mean, you know that most African countries, their GDP is based on what? On agro-based products. I mean, agro-based products. Where will you get the market? Where will the market share be? Will you sell your produce or what? Or materials inside your country? Or else will you want to expose them outside? And another thing is, you're talking about what? I'm still on the same point here. One, if they don't allow politicians to invest outside, then what's the use of East African Community? I mean, East African Community was made there to promote trade, cooperation, and teamwork. Then how would you be able to promote trade?
Kindly give us a scale of current politician investment to how much the country is benefiting.
My next speaker will be back on that. Thank you so much. And how will it promote development, since we all know that a community is based on teamwork and development? Now, how will you develop yourself internally yet you don't have people who are going to do what? Who are going to invest in your country? And first of all, us as team negators, we come in this resolution knowing that.
Do you believe that all investors are politicians?
No, not all, but based on the fact that I base myself on China, who we know His Excellency Xi Jinping is investing in Africa, in developing countries. Then what are you basing on? Isn't he a politician? Benefits of investing outside. First of all, there are higher returns. Many emerging markets offer higher returns compared to the internally based economies. Here we see companies coming from outside, politicians investing inside these countries. Then we see them impact the revenue. Here is one. We see most revenues that are internally collected are not sufficient to those investors who come from outside, and what impact they develop. For example, we see China is investing mostly in developing countries, and we see development there. Then how are they coming here? How you come in there, basically yourself for banning politicians? How would you cooperate? How would you promote teamwork and get your imagine developing countries here where you're trying to what to leapfrog from poverty and you want to be sufficient in everything you do. And another thing is currency diversification. Holding assets in multiple currencies can protect against domestic currency depreciation. Domestic currency depreciation. This means lowering of currency. For example, if someone invests in a country, in a country outside, don't you see the value of the money will increase? Take an instance that, for example, a politician invests outside the country, and for example, 1 Kenyan shilling we all know is equal to 30 Uganda shillings. Don't you think that will be development? Because he will repatriate more of income to his country rather than basing yourself in Uganda, where you know the currency of Uganda is low. How will you promote development? And we know that in the Leadership Code Act, the Leadership Code Act requires public officials, including politicians, to declare their incomes and assets and liabilities to the AGG. And how will you ban politicians? What are banning politicians? Why can't you let investors come to your countries, promote development through investing in your country, putting their factories and everything that's
Nakasongola Army Secondary School is one of the attendees of today's function, and they have participated in wonderful activities today. To mention but a few is poetry, as you've seen. Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Mrunji Samson.
Yes. In which class are you?
Senior 3.
What has been your experience today?
My experience here today, it has been wow, because we have really competing with different teams and we have interacted. We have been discussing about different policies in form of resolutions.
Okay.
And whereby two teams have been against each other. Where they look into the team of farmers and negators and actually get which side to go with.
Okay. Relating to the topic, making sure that you become resilient and good governing citizens, what is your take on this?
As we are seeing that we can even now from the government can easily tell us that, according to the motion we at, the government can easily say that, okay, since they have debated like this, let's give a certain change to that.
All right, your National Children and Youth Development Channel is what you're watching, U24 television. Hello.
Hello, sir.
What's your name?
I'm Holly Minda, Senior 3.
Senior 3.
Yes.
How has been your experience?
The experience has been great since we have been able to interact with seniors who have guided us.
Okay.
So that gives us a clear path towards going to the next levels and performing better.
Okay, and lastly would be?
Josephine.
Yes, Josephine. In which class are you?
I'm in Form 3.
Wrap up all this.
This has really added has really added a lot of value to our debating skills, because we have been in position of going to other different teams where we have really learned a lot from them. So I think we can really do more, as in we always come for these competitions, so as to really add to our skills.
All right, thank you so much. Let them go for the next round of competition. It is Nakasongola Army Secondary School, located in Nakasongola district. Thank you so much.
This house will ban politicians from investing in outside countries. Now, according to us, an outside country, this is a foreign country actually that is not your country. So, this is what we get from Team of Farmers. Team of Farmers come and tell us that when the politicians invest in outside countries, this will lead to low development in Uganda. This is not actually what it will bring out. Instead, when a person is investing in an outside country, it doesn't mean that the country won't develop, because this is at a personal basis. We look at the people who come in power, other politicians. These are well-off people in most cases. A person can't come out to contest to be a politician when that person is not having money. So if I'm having my own money and have the capability of investing in another country, why should you have to limit me from investing in another country? So you can't prove a factor on that. You also came out and say that investment of funds. This is not actually brought by the fact that they are investing in outside countries. Instead, we have brought you to we bring it to awareness that these people who are investing in outside countries, they are not given money by the government. We have never heard about the fact that the government is giving a politician, let us give maybe an honorable the money to invest in another country. Instead, they use their own money to invest in another country. Why should you come out and refuse them to invest in another country? Look at these very politicians. Some of them have their families in outside countries. Then why should you have to limit them? Should they ignore their families because they are politicians? Of course not.
Therefore, you have no factors proven that. You also come and spoke about the weaknesses in the country's economy. You just said, you're actually just trying to repeat yourselves. There is no way it's going to weaken the country's economy, yet these people, in most cases, they're using their own funds, they're not using the country's economy. Because we say that when they're allocated funds granted, thank you. We're not actually looking at patriotism, but investment. Still, when I invest in another country, it does not limit me from developing my country. When I go and help a neighbor or I help an elderly, it doesn't mean that now I don't love my parents. So you can't have no factor to prove on patriotism. Thank you. So we as team negators come and say that when we let the politicians to invest in outside the country, it is actually bringing no cause on board, because we even have the disclosures in our constitution. So how do you come and again bring a ban to investments? Yet we also have the disclosures, meaning that a politician who is coming on table is also bringing awareness to the government, all the enterprises, all the investments that he or she is having, meaning that the government is aware. Oh, if I'm having an investment in another country, it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to function my duties in my country. Therefore, we have no factor to prove on that. We also come and tell you that when the politicians invest in other countries, it will also promote international development or relationship, which is actually developing our country and promoting security. Now, if a person, if Museveni, our president, comes out and constructs a school in Congo, is it deteriorating our rating in Uganda? Of course not. And even when you come out to refuse the politicians from investing in other countries, you're even trying to tamper with the constitution that gives everyone freedom to do he or she wants, as long as no one is burdened. Because we are saying that when investments are done in other countries, no one is burdened. This is at a personal basis. You're not looking at the government. When I'm investing in another country, it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to cater for my family or I want to cater for the constituents in my country. Therefore, you have to answer that. Thank you.
Team opposition won the debate on this metric. My first problem with proposition, like I said, is your comparatives were really, really flimsy. So you come and tell us, one, we're going to have final exams create a lot of stress for people. People have to read a lot and all that. In my mind, what is going through is, yes, we have stress in final exams. Isn't this stress symmetrical to projects, or do a project solving it? That was in my mind until Op1 comes and highlights it. There is equal amount of pressure in final examinations as well as projects. So at a point in time, we have the same kind of thing on both sides. Such an argument cannot fly. It becomes a neutral argument. The same thing applies to failure. The same thing applies to stress. Like, all those things can be in both worlds. It doesn't mean that I'm doing a project, it is going to become all of a sudden so simple. They come and even paint for you. Me writing papers that have been taught in class may be way simpler than me doing, maybe I'm supposed to maybe build an automobile. Okay, that was a very extreme idea, but I could get what they are pushing for. Like, the simplicity would fall on their side. But also too, why team proposition does not win the debate. Team proposition had one large impact that was on solving unemployment. My entire problem was, you cannot have an impact that at the end of the day we are going to solve unemployment when I do not have the mechanism of how me having projects is drastically going to be able to solve unemployment. When you tell me hands-on work, you give me examples of engineering and all that, I clearly tell you there is a lot of hands-on work that is there. These guys also come and tell you, well, even in our kind of setting, we have practicals. That means if I've studied something in class, I'm going to do a practical. What is the unique contribution that a project will have that a practical does not have? That is something I really needed. But also too, I needed to see like a flow. When we have projects instead of final year papers, we are going to have maybe a lot of hands-on work. We're going to have a lot of people using the knowledge they have used and all that. This in otherwise is going to create this and this and this. Hence, we're going to solve problems. I do not see that kind of flow. What you come and tell me, yes, you're going to have a lot of critical thinking and problem solving. I buy into that. My only problem comes when team
opposition comes and tells us critical thinking lies on both sides. Because at a point in time, I've studied for 4 whole years and I have to only do one paper, it requires some kind of critical thinking for me to be able to answer that kind of paper, because it holds a lot of information. For me to be able to put that information on paper, it requires some kind of critical thinking. I'm swayed to agree that this applies on both sides. But the other things you come and tell us, things like projects are going to create teamwork, I buy into that. But I do not see what is the value of teamwork in society. What is the value of teamwork on your already established kind of thing like unemployment? Yes, when you have teamwork, how does teamwork then solve unemployment at the end of the day? I don't see that. Opposition on the other side did not do their best, but what I loved from their speech is they were able to create accurate comparisons. Opposition comes and tells us the problem we find with these kinds of things, like that is the projects. The entire argument was on one, we're going to have higher costs of education. I'm more swayed to buy into this because they tell you at a point in time you have projects, that means we are going to have things like a lot of money to buy material, all those things. They give you an example, like their comparative is on a final paper. A final paper is just a piece of paper. We can do this paper all at once and we are done. So I'm more swayed to buy into that. Why? Okay, they come and tell you, one, in this kind of system, you're going to have less attention span. They tell you when you're put in a class, you're supposedly forced to be paying attention because there is one tutor and all that. This same cannot be, like, there is a hard line with this being pushed to what? To the kind of practical bit of it all and all that, because now we have maybe groups, the attention may be focused on one person and all that. I'm trying to buy into that idea, and you do not come back at it, so it stays there and no one has come back at it. That is that. But then,
representing the adjudicators as well, the organizing team of today's function is Mr. Sekandi. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Nice having you here.
Sam. I'm happy to also be here.
What's your full name?
My name is Chibril Sekandi.
Yes,
and I'm a judge or an adjudicator for today, but specifically handling debate.
Okay.
Yeah, though we had other genres, we had debate, we had poetry and public speech. So it was having all genres. We don't only allow people debate, but do poetry and public speech. So it's an aspect that is inclusive at that level.
Okay, what has been your observation in today's interaction with the learners from different schools? Because we know different backgrounds give us what to say.
Yeah, what I've witnessed so far, I've judged different teams, is to say that the art of speaking has greatly improved. Okay. Back in the days, it used to be limited to specific institutions, but now surprisingly, someone will tell you and he will start speaking, you look at the badge, look at the school, and you will be surprised that actually reasoning and coming up with capacity to make very good arguments is not limited to specific institutions. This is an art that people can always share from. And I'm so happy that very many young people have picked up. They've picked up. The girls are there, boys are there. So it's something that is very inclusive, surely. That we don't only have boys debating, we also have the girl child represented very well. So it's an aspect that inclusive. And it really speaks a lot to the youth that we are going to create for a good future. Because the more you have people that can assess, talk about matters within their country, it's when you best establish individuals that can even represent us better in parliament and other aspects.
Why did you point at good governance as one of the aspects that add up to make today's theme?
Yeah, good governance is very critical and essential. That firstly, we are in a period that is the election period. It is very essential and critical to how every Ugandan survives. So whenever people discuss governance, they have a factor to relate to. Uganda, they know this is home, this is where we are. Good governance influences and impacts on every Ugandan's life. That's why you can't have a debate or poetry and exclude governance, because these are the people you want to make better governments in the future, so you must include them to understanding why it is essential to have good governance in a country.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful opportunity, as well Coming up to train the little minds, I would say that you're doing a great job for our country. Let's continue. All right, many groups are coming over and from the debate. As I told you, it was the second round. Hello. Hi. What's your name?
My name is Elisha.
Yes, from which school?
Standard High School, Kapeka.
Standard High School, Kapeka, the school of a standard.
Yes, the school of a standard always.
Okay, what has been in the interaction?
The interaction, we have faced different resolutions that are tackling about what we are currently seeing. For example, when we look at the current situation that is in Uganda, we have looked at a certain motion that was relating to such things of elections, how they are taking place. But we have seen that it was somehow not easy to make it clear, but we have tried our level best, and indeed we are learning much of things that we would not have expected to get.
Okay, do you think we need to give the president another term of service?
I think it will depend on the one who's interest in the president.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not in the service?
In terms of service, you might be not interested in the president, and other people might be interested in him. So you cannot say that we should not let him go back into power, because we are different people. Everyone has his own interest.
Okay, and what is your name?
My name is Timugo Richard.
From Standard High?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hey.
What's your name?
Isaac.
Yes, Isaac. From Standard High still?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been at proposition or opposition?
Opposition.
Why did you oppose?
I'm opposing that. It's right to leave the president with his powers when he's coming for the next time. Because there's not any negative effect. The president to be in his powers, only that they bring effective leadership, so that the family must have the top father and the children will follow.
Okay.
So that was my genuine reason.
Representing the girls at Standard High Kapeka, what's your take on the next term of service?
My take on the next term of office will depend on the majority. If the majority decide that this person has done us well, they should allow him come into power. We should not leave alone the majority's will and then bring him into power because of just emotions. Let's base on majority over minority.
Okay, thank you so much. The teacher has escorted the learners to the debate room as well. He brought them to the function today. Hello, sir.
Hello.
What's your name?
Daniel Kusima.
Yes, Daniel Kusima, a teacher at
Standard High School, Kapeka.
Okay, so what makes Kapeka the best? Because it is known as the industrial area in Greater Luwero, is it right? The Greater Luwero industrial area. So what makes the place the best that you can easily educate these young minds to come up with such contrasting views as far as leadership is concerned?
Wow, Luwero was a determinant in the previous war, and you realize that it being in the Greater Luwero was a war zone. It affected so many activities, and education was one of them.
Okay.
Mr. Ahimbisi Silvano came up with the idea of now bringing back and building a better education setup, and that was none other than Standard High School. So in Kapeka, find their industries, there are so many other activities, and very many people have now come back to the war zone. But one glittering point of it is education, and at Standard, we have it all.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for educating the world at your national children and youth education channel, U24. Thank you so much. We are inspiring Uganda. Echoes of Expression, Benon Mokwaya.